Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Beatriz, your host here on Beatriz Book Nook, and welcome to my little corner of the internet. Today I am going to be doing my monthly wrap-up of the month of June, and what a month! I am going to say the Amazing Readathon was a perfect push that I needed for a lot of readings, but also having gone to the book fair, I also think it helped me quite a little bit because I was able to get some books that I'm quite interested in. And I actually got to read a few of the books that I got in the book fair. So let's jump right into the video, into the wrap up, and let's see how well this month was for me. Okay, so I'm not going to be doing this in no particular order. I am just going to be going out of the pile of the books that I have here, and for that the first one is going to be Carrie Sotto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Last Sunday I posted a video about this book, so if you have not watched it yet, make sure you go. I'll try to link it somewhere in here. But in this book we follow Carrie Sotto, and she is a tennis player, and she, at the moment that this book starts, she's 37 years old. She's already retired. She does not want, but she's outside of the tennis competitive scene. But a girl, a new tennis player, challenges her record. So because of that, Carrie decides to go back to playing tennis and get her record back. A lot happens in this book. A lot, like so many emotional roller coasters. We get to see Carrie develop and Carrie's character development in terms of emotional, and I really enjoyed this book. It was a book that was recommended to me by Vanessa from Reading with Dr. B. I really liked this. I really liked all of the development that I saw on Carrie's character. I really liked the writing style. I liked the side characters. I felt like all of them were very needed, very important. And because of that, I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. It's not a 5-star because it did not give me the same emotions or the same level of emotions as the other book that I've read from this author, which was a 5-star, but it was a close second. I did not want to put this down, and I did not want to let go of these characters. So I'm quite happy, and I cannot wait to get to read some more Taylor Jenkins Reid. The next book that I have to show you is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, and what a disappointment that this book was. I read this book for a vlog that I also have up on my channel. It was a book that Donna from Mom's Book Collection recommended me. I have been eyeing this book for quite some years now, and I actually never got to it. But what is actually this book about? Well, I wish I could tell you in more depth, but I actually don't understood a lot of this book. But we follow Laszlo Strange, and Laszlo Strange, he's an orphan, and he works for a library where he helps the librarians, obviously, and he also has these works of him that are called the full collection of Laszlo Strange books or something like that. And those books talk about the lost city of Weep. And Weep is a city that everyone knew, but everyone forgot. And Laszlo is very interested, wants to know all about this city, and one day there's a group that comes to his place, his city that he lives in, that actually has the opportunity for Laszlo to go find Weep and actually find what happened in Weep. But we follow his journey until he gets to Weep, because he actually gets there. But at the same time, we are also following these creatures, these blue creatures that are in a way descendants of the gods, and they all have different powers, and they are also all orphans. And the main girl that we follow is a girl that can get into people's dreams with moths, said the moth in the cover. And I don't know much more. I could not understand what actually happened to Weep. I could not understand a lot of things. I can see what the hype was about this book a few years ago, but right now, at this moment, I don't. And sadly, I think this is the only book that I couldn't rate this month because I couldn't rate it. I actually don't know where my rating gets onto this book. I did not love it. I did not care for the characters. I felt very emotionless while I was reading this because I was more confused with what was happening in the book than actually trying to get to know the characters a little bit more. And because of that, I couldn't actually rate this book, and I am actually, this might be controversial, but I want to give the second one another chance and read Moons of Nightmares. And if I like that one, I'll get the copy, but if not, I think I'll just get rid of this one because it was not a book for me. The writing style was very descriptive. There was a lot going on that made me not be able to focus that much on what was actually happening and understanding the characters and understanding the events of the book. The next book that I want to talk about is The Sunbearer Trials by Aiden Thomas. I really liked this book. I gave it in the end 4 stars because I felt that it was a really solid book. So in this book we follow Theo, and Theo, he's a semideus, which he descends from the goddess of birds, his mother. And every few years or every year, there's the Sunbearer trials to know who will make the sacrifice to keep the peace between the night and day, or to, in a way, get the sun to keep charge, in a way. And because of that, every year, every couple of years, there's these trials where they choose some semideuses and some jades. They choose some golds and some jades, I think so. I actually don't, yeah, the golds and the jades. And in this year, there's something that happens where Sol, who is the main goddess, chooses not one but 2 semideus jades, and which one of him is Theo and the other one is Zio. I don't remember how you say it. And Theo is actually more preoccupied with actually helping Zio survive than winning the competition. And a lot happens in this book. There's a big development, there's a plot twist in the end, and to me this was a big solid 4-star. It was a book that I really enjoyed, but in a way it did not give me all the emotions that I need normally for a 5-star book. That's why I ended up rating it 4, but I really loved it and I really want to keep reading the other books which from Aiden Thomas, which I am very curious about. The next book that I read was A Court is Cruel and Lovely by Stacia Stark. In this book we are following a world where having powers is not the best. It's actually, if you have powers until your 25th birth, you are actually killed on the spot, and your family actually also is killed. Well, you are not killed on the spot. You go to the dungeons and then you are, in a way, a sacrifice. But your family is killed on the spot. And in this, we follow Priska, exactly. And she is actually one of these humans that, until her whole life, she has had powers. So she's very concerned what she will do when her 25th birth, her 25th winter happens, and she has to go in front of her whole village, and actually is discovered that she always had powers, and she was not one of the pures, let's say it like that. Until one day she's on her way to work and there's this guy doing some bad stuff to her colleague, and she actually uses her powers, and this girl, the girl that she saved, goes on and tells the guards, and because of that Priska has to run away. And while running away she meets this group of mercenaries, and she then later starts traveling with them. She gets to know them, and when they get to the city she discovers that one of her best friends is actually in the dungeons because she also had powers. A lot happens. There's a lot of things that happen in this book, and I am quite excited because I really want to read the rest of them, and it was actually a lovely moment. It was a very fast-paced read. I actually really enjoyed it, and I think in the end I gave it 4 stars or 4.5. I cannot remember. But I think it was amazing and I really liked it, and I cannot wait to see how it develops into the next books. So I'm quite excited to keep on with this series, and let's see what A Kingdom Discursed and Empty brings me. The next book that I want to talk to you about is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This book has been everywhere and I really wanted to understand what the hype was of it, and did I actually liked it? I enjoyed it, but the more I think of it, the more I feel like it was a very underwhelming book for me. So in this book, we are following, there's elites who have power, and there's non-elites, ordinary. People who don't have power, and the ordinaries are actually killed when it's discovered that they have no powers, and all of their family is actually exiled from their city. The main character of this book, which is Aiden, she doesn't have powers, but because she has been learning to, in a way, how do I explain this? Her father knew that she didn't have powers since she was a child. And because of that, her father taught her how to go around of not having powers and to, in a way, elude people of that she actually has powers, so nothing would happen to her. Until one day she actually goes and confronts the prince and saves him, and then the trial starts. She goes against all of the other elites, and it doesn't go well in the end. My thoughts are, I was able to understand what all the hype was about. I just felt like the more that I thought of it, the more underwhelming I thought of the book. And because of that, I think I gave it 3 or 3.5 stars. Because I thought it was nothing like groundbreaking. It did not give me emotions, not a lot of them, and I was not always on my toes wanting to see what was going to happen. I liked it, but not enough to give it a 4 star. Meaning, will I keep going on with the series? I think I will, because the premise of the second book sounds really interesting and I really want to read the novella. So I am quite excited, and I want to see if it gets a little bit better, because that might happen in the second book. So I am excited. I want to read more, and I hope Reckless is a smidge little better than this was for me. Now that I'm thinking of it, and the next book that I'm going to talk to you about, I have been on a trial book mood, because a lot of the books that I read this month have had trials, but the next book that I want to talk to you about is A Gathering of Shadows by V. Schwab. I adored this book. I gave it 4.5 stars or 4 stars. I really liked this. I felt like this was a very interesting way to understand a little bit more of the characters, to understand a little bit more of the world. This was very world building in comparison to book 1, which was A Darker Shade of Magic. Because on this one we are still following Kel and we are still following Delilah Bard, but we are following them in a different way, not in a way where Kel is going from each London to the other, but in a way that Kel is competing against the other magicians in the world, but he has to suppress his powers. So I loved this book. I loved everything about it. I felt like it was a really nice representation of the world, of these characters. I had a moments where I was like, oh my god, what is happening? I had other moments where I was like, why did you do that? And I had other moments where I was like, this character is so selfish that I can't put up with him or her anymore. I had a fun time reading this book. I hope I can read the last one soon because I really want to finish one series. Or at least this series, and V. Schwab, for me, she's just an amazing author and I cannot wait to read more about her because if you know me, Eddie LaRue is my favorite book ever. I am so excited to talk to you about the next book because it was my 5-star of the month and my big project of the month, although I read it quite easily because I was so addicted, so like I couldn't put this book down, and that book is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. And if you know, this book follows Nesta and her dealing with grief, her dealing with like everything that has happened during the war of Prythian actually, and how she is dealing with everything that happens, her father death, her sisters like feeling so well and actually being able to adjust so well into this new world, into this new time, and how a big hardship Nessa is having. I loved everything of this book. I love the friendships, I love the development of the relationships, I loved every little bit of it. I felt such a big joy and like all the emotions while I was reading this book that it was like only right for me to give it 5 stars. I felt such a big character development from Nesta. I felt such a big development from her relationship with Cassian. I was so happy when I finished this book by what I learned and all the lore that I could understand about Prythian, the Illyrians, and the Night Courts, and all of that I couldn't not give this 5 stars. It was amazing. I really liked it. I loved this book so much that I think this is my favorite Sarah J. Maas book. I have not finished her series, but this one really tops all of the ACOTAR for me, and I think it's my new baby. Although it's the biggest one, I think it's my new baby and I just love it so much. And now, sadly, we are going from the high to one of the lowest books of the month. And when I say I hate this book, and if you love it, I'm sorry, this is just my opinion, but this book was not it for me. Twisted Love by Hannah Huang. It's one of the worst things I have read, and I don't normally say that about books. I quite enjoy all of the books that I read normally, but this one was just bad. The characters fell flat, there was no big story. To me, how I explained to my best friend the other day, was a mafia romance wannabe, because it's just a wannabe. It didn't reach the mafia romance. I was not invested in the characters. I did not like their story. I couldn't relate to them. I felt they were very one dimension. I don't know how people say so many good things about this series and this book. I am actually considering unhauling it because I gave it 2.5 or 2 stars and I hated it. I hated this one more than I hated Cersei, and that says a lot, and I just wish I had never read this and I had never bought this because it was so bad then. It was so bad. I'm sorry if you love this book. I'm sorry if you liked it when you read it. But to me, it was just not here. I did not like this. I did not like the characters. I did not like anything about this one. So, yeah, this concludes all of the books. and let's get into the outro. Thank you for watching. This is all that I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I can see you a little bit more around my little corner of the internet. If you liked, please don't forget to hit the like button. Also, since you are down there and if you are not subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. It will mean a lot to me. And if you want, please leave a comment down below telling me what the best book of June was for you, or if you don't feel like chatting, please leave an emoji just like a drop of water. I think that could be fun. Also, talking about water, don't forget to hydrate. The summer is coming and that is very important. So friends, I hope you have a lovely day after watching this video. Either it be resting, being active in some way, or even working. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing day, night or evening, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all next. So until then, bye friends!